right, let's talk about your money. The Dow opening really strong right now, up about 90 points at 48,792. That's just one marker of our economy. And here to discuss it with us, of course, Jim Spiro from Morgan Stanley. Tell us a little bit about this, Jim, because when you look at the rate cut that the Fed just did, what does it mean to you and the rate cuts that have happened? Has it done anything?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things going on. I mentioned this to Kelsey yesterday. Look, the Fed cut rates. They made clear the bar for additional cuts is higher. The market, as measured by the S&P, has had a nice response. That's about where I'd put it.
Okay.
The Dow has really roared ahead.
Yep.
And the NASDAQ has actually been subpar. What's taking place here is I think there's an argument that's gaining traction that the rate cuts, albeit probably close to the end, may reinvigorate the economy a little bit. And as a consequence, some of the errors coming out of the tech stocks, which have been extraordinary, and you're seeing a rotation into things that are more geared towards the economic cycle. So heavy equipment, machinery, industrial, financials are doing better because of lower rates. So you're seeing a changing of the guard. If you just look at the Dow, you might be slightly misled. That said, year to date, the S&P is up about 17%, the Dow a little less, the NASDAQ a little more.
Okay.
Pretty tough to have not made money this year. It's been a good year.
All right, good deal. Like we said, that's one marker of the economy. Then you have the other side of the economy, the people that are really working the earth hard. And farmers have been saying for a while now, any kind of bailout right now would be too little too late. But still, President Trump just this week in Pennsylvania saying, no, we're coming with the bailout. This is what it's going to do. What do you think is going to trickle down to them?
Well, look, let me just look at this in an apolitical way, and I really will forget Democrat, Republican. Look, here's the bottom line. Whatever, it was 8-9 months ago, the president had Liberation Day, and the essence of it was we basically slapped up tariffs against the rest of the world. A number of nations responded by putting tariffs on our exports, and a number of others decided to reduce or no longer purchase American products, particularly agricultural products. So the end result is the farmers have lost money, market share, they've alienated a lot of long-term customers, and in turn the administration claims now it will take some of the tariff money and partially reimburse the farmers for the losses, not totally. And mind you, they're going to have to complete some paperwork, there's an application, so it doesn't just show up in the mail. The end result is the farmers will have a loss, alienated customers, a lot of wasted crop, and an inability to plan, I think, accurately for planting in the future. And the American consumer, at the end of the day, is going to end up paying higher prices. I'm not a farmer nor an economist, but that doesn't strike me as a particularly helpful set of policies.
Okay. Yeah, we have to monitor that on all ends because we also have a workforce that they are trying to preserve to continue picking their crops.
That's correct.
Right now. So they're really, like we said, we are tracking how farmers in our area are doing, and we will stay on top of that story. The president has said in the past that we don't have an affordability crisis, but then he also reversed that in Pennsylvania this week, saying, you know what, I see you. We're going to try to make America rich again. His words.
Yeah. Well, look, everything these days is a crisis. We have a crisis in democracy. We have a climate crisis. We now have an affordability crisis. I don't know where the inflection point is between problem and crisis. But here's the bottom line. I think you can tell the American people that they really don't know what's going on in Ukraine and Russia because they're not going over there daily. They don't really know what's going on in Gaza and Israel. You could argue what we are or aren't doing or should do in Cambodia and with respect to Thailand. But people go to the grocery store with regularity. And when a pound of coffee goes from $5 or $6 to $9, and you tell them the prices are actually going down, I don't think that resonates very well. I think that's effectively calling people stupid. And I think the previous administration wrestled with this as well. So I can't tell you what the proper strategy is, but it seems to me that denial is not a particularly effective strategy here. And as I suggested to you, I don't think that kind of approach resonates well with the public, whether it's a Democratic administration or a Republican administration.
Jim Spiro, thank you so much for your analysis, and we will keep the conversation going. There's a lot to monitor.
You got a deal. Thanks a million.
All right, thank you.